Hello and welcome to another episode of You Want to Do What. Today I've got Jonny Plein on, and he is actually the co-founder of Pouch and a commercial director at Global Savings Group. Hi, Jonny.
Hey Daniel, thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure. Should we jump straight in then? Do you want to tell everyone a bit about what you do?
Yeah, will do. So, as Daniel said, I'm the co-founder of Pouch. Pouch is a free-to-download money-saving browser extension. A browser extension is an app for your desktop, like Chrome or Safari. And effectively, we built Pouch to solve the problem of searching for voucher codes. So, we've all been there before. Have a product in your basket, going to search for a voucher code, realize that all of them are broken or don't work. So we broke Pouch to kind of fix that broken journey. And once you download Pouch for free on Google Chrome, when you get to the checkout page of over 3,500 retail stores, Pouch will automatically apply all the best available voucher codes in one click. Great for consumers, great for Black Friday, and that's what we do. We started the business in 2016. And the reason Daniel gave me a dual title in my intro is because we sold the business to a company called Global Savings Group in 2019, where I'm now a commercial director, still growing the Pouch brand and the Pouch business.
Wow. So how did this journey of becoming an entrepreneur actually begin? Like where did you start?
I actually started at university. I had this idea, for whatever reason, that I wanted to put on a student concert to raise money for charity. I can't tell you, I've never even really been that into music. I can't tell you why I thought I wanted to do this, but it's something I wanted to do before uni. I wanted to put on the student version of Live Aid,
Yeah.
because nothing existed like that before. And I thought, people want to give back and it'd be quite a cool thing to try and do. So I went to uni with this idea of I want to work out how to put on this concert. And I came across this amazing organization called Students in Free Enterprise, SIFE, now called Enactus. An incredible organization. Anyone that's at uni or going to uni listening to this podcast, definitely check them out. They're basically the largest organization of student social enterprises in the world. They're active in like over 100 countries, and each university has its own team, and then the teams create projects that are judged, and the winners complete in this global competition. But it's really about just, you've got an idea, let's try and make it happen. So I got very involved in this student organization. It was technically a limited company. Within the first year, with no budget, we managed to put on this student concert and raise around £5,000 for charity, which was amazing, considering like literally no money was spent to put it on. It was just all negotiations and favors and things like that. So that was my first, or maybe not a venture, but project in creating something out of nothing. And I did a bunch of other things. So I ended up being the commercial lead of the Nottingham team of SIFE, and I started small businesses there. We're targeting students, so like a student storage business. Don't take your stuff home after when term ends. Store it with us, and we'll drop it back in your halls afterwards. Mm-hmm. We sold. We did the standard bake sales, I think, as well. Got involved in like creating affiliate schemes for companies who wanted to target students. So basically referral sales, just lots of different small projects to earn money to then, and then that money went to the social enterprise projects that we were running. That's where it started. And I credit a lot of my kind of drive and creativity to what I learned as a student doing stuff with them.
Wow. So then that kind of, you got the taste for entrepreneurship and running businesses. And then did that lead on to, what did you study at university, first of all?
So I did economics and Chinese studies.
Wow, okay.
I went to uni 2009 to 2012. Mm-hmm. So at the time, every newspaper article was China double-digit growth, Chinese economic miracle. And I thought, this would be quite interesting to study, learn some Mandarin, see where that takes me. It was a really good degree. Really, really enjoyed it. But no, nothing like, I didn't do business management or anything typical of what people would think when you think, you're going to go start a business.
Okay, so you've been cutting your teeth at university, trying a few businesses, as well as doing a degree. After you finished uni, what did you sort of decide to do from that point?
So I didn't know necessarily what I wanted to do straight away, but I knew that eventually I definitely wanted to run my own businesses. So I wouldn't say I come from a family of entrepreneurs, but I definitely come from a family of self-employed people. So my dad, was a financial advisor. He won't call himself an entrepreneur, but built a small practice, and it was always him making his own money. Same with my grandpa, ran a small textiles agency. So the word boss and promotion and bonus and all these things, I never really grew up with that kind of language being used, which I guess has affected me more than I thought as I've become an adult. But I knew I always wanted to do my own thing, or at least try. So a lot of the successful people around me, my dad says, if he could have been an accountant, he was never clever enough to be an accountant. He would have been if he could. So they were all accountants. So he said, go and get your accountancy qualification. You don't need to work as an accountant. Just go do the exams and pass it, and then you've got a tangible skill set you can take elsewhere. So, I didn't want to go and work in a bank or anything like that. So I thought, okay, do this and then see where it goes. So I got onto the Ernst & Young corporate finance grad scheme.
Wow.
And it was cool. So I did an internship with them, got offered the job, and that was in my second year. And then I deferred it for a year, so I was able to do go traveling and do all that fun stuff. And then I joined in September 2013, and very intense. I don't know if any of your friends have done these grad schemes, but effectively it's like you're up or you're out. You're doing 15 exams to over a 2-year period, and then 3 years of practical work. And if you fail the exams, you get fired.
Very intense.
Like no additional pressure at all.
Yeah.
So EY was an interesting experience. I went in there on my first day, and they were like, "Oh, why are you here?" And I said, "Oh, I want to pass my exams and then leave to go start my own business." And
oh,
yeah. And they were like, "So you don't want to be a partner?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Like maybe, but I don't think so." So it was a bit of a slog, and I mean that didn't impact the work I did, and everyone was very nice, but
sure.
For what I found frustrating, and maybe what a lot of people find frustrating if they do work in corporates and go to corporates, is that a lot of your career progression has nothing to do with your skill set or your talent.
Yes.
It's to do with budgets and how well the partner's done and the managers and how long people around you have been doing. And the work was fine. Luckily I did corporate finance and not audit, so I did do the work was okay. I mean, I still effectively was an Excel and doing PowerPoints, and I'm dyspraxic, which never really affected my earlier school life, but not later on. Like I got straight A's in all my exams and stuff, but there are some things I'm just not good at, like spelling and formatting, and we have tools that allow us to do that, and it doesn't affect the output or creativity or things like that. But the things they valued were, having a whole investor slide deck or anything like that, really spell check and perfect and everything lined up correctly within, the nth degree millimeter. And I just couldn't do it. I just wasn't good at it. I just, as hard as I tried, I kept missing things because my brain just works in a certain way.
This is honestly, I am feeling so much symbiotic with you right now, because that is not exactly the phrase I was looking for.
Empathy, maybe.
Empathy, that's the one. Symbiotic, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, sympathy for you, because that is exactly how I felt in the corporate world. I went and did insurance broking in the City of London, and what frustrated me was the ability, your progression is not on you. It doesn't matter how hard you work, your progression is still in the hands of other people. And I think, what's that called? Dyspraxia? Sorry, what was that?
What, my learning disability?
Yeah, what is that?
Dyspraxia. It's so you've got dyslexia, which is about reading and writing. And I could always read and write and that kind of stuff. It's actually just about spatial awareness, and it's different challenges. Always very good at maths, could always write all that kind of stuff, but I'm just not good at like aligning stuff on a slide to the perfect degree, and yeah, my spelling's very poor.
Yeah, that's
You know,
interesting,
a
because
lot
I
of
have the
typos when I'm
same.
typing. Yeah,
That's really interesting. I have the
maybe you're
same kind of.
undiagnosed.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Okay. But then so you were, you didn't feel like the corporate world was quite right for you. So then what was your kind of next step?
It wasn't that I didn't think it was right for me. Like I was kind of enough of a grafter that I kind of overcame those challenges, and worked hard. I found, especially at EY, that, like I said, that your progression has nothing to do with you, but
Mm,
also the learning plateaus a little bit, because really, like these corporate, I don't know how it was in insurance broking, but in professional services, you're really learning from the people around you.
mm,
And in these big corporates, or in these big firms that don't pay that well but are very safe, and EY is exactly that. Massive employer, they pay
yeah.
below market rate, but you're never going to get fired. Very rarely you're going to get fired, and a lot of people just kind of trod along,
Mm,
which meant that all the managers I had, they were only there because they had been there long enough and just had been too scared to leave. All the good people leave.
yeah.
They can go, we're doing big hours. They go to investment banks and earn triple the money for maybe 10% more of the hours.
Yeah.
So I just felt that, I was learning from this very mediocre level of middle management. And I was like, you're not dynamic, you're not intelligent, you're just here, you're just a cog, and you're happy with that, and you're going home at 6 and you're doing whatever, and you're earning your 70-80K after 10 years, which is fine if that's what you want, but it just wasn't for me. And I just, like, my ambitions and everything were just dying there. And that's not everyone's experience. I learned a lot. They treated me very well. I'm not saying anything like that. This is just personally how I felt, from thinking this is, it's more just saying I can't see this path for me for the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, your experience is exactly my experience. It's weird. Exactly how I felt about working in a large corporate sort of company. So you've done that. What was the decision to go? Actually, I'm going to go out on my own now. How did you sort of actually make that step?
So Ben, my co-founder in Pouch, was a friend of mine from school, and he told me he worked in the pouch industry, so affiliate marketing, which is effectively a type of an arm of the digital marketing. So if anyone listening is in digital marketing, it will be part of a digital strategy where you drive sales through referring traffic from one source to another. So easiest example is a blog that writes about Nike shoes. Nike will have an affiliated relationship with that blog. And if someone reads the blog and then buys a pair of Nike shoes through a link on that blog, the blog will get paid a commission. Kind of how Amazon grew in the early days. And the biggest players in that sector are voucher code websites, and like a lot of other technology partners. And he worked at a technology company doing affiliate marketing technology, and he was seeing like all the voucher code sites, and he basically said, if we do this with a browser extension, we can kind of turn this industry on its head and grow something there. So that was, he came to me with the idea kind of halfway through my time at EY, so halfway through my 3 years. Nothing really happened for the first 6 months because I was doing my exams. He took a job in Singapore, a lot of different things. It was just basically two mates chatting bollocks over playing a game of table tennis and a beer. Like, it was just like, oh, imagine this, imagine that. But Ben he took this job in Singapore he thought would be like his next career move. And then it didn't work out. And he came back in the January 16 and was like, right, I'm fully committed to Pouch. I want to try and do this. And I just finished all my exams in December 15. So by that time I was like, right, I've basically got a year where I need to work, where I've done all my exams, where I can't leave until that year finishes because I'll like have to pay back exam money and all these rules around qualifying as an accountant. But in my spare time, evenings and weekends, let's work on this idea. And we then met like a technical co-founder, and the decision was, it's such a risk to go and start a new business. And everyone around me was like, you're 25, like, or 26, I can't remember how old I was. I'm 30 now, so I should, it's not too long ago. percentage of businesses fails, you've got no experience, blah, 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 blah. And my thought was, what I really wanted to do was go traveling again. That's what I really wanted. So I thought, okay, let's give this a go. Even if it lasts for 6 months, I would have really cut my teeth in a real way. I was living at home. I'm very fortunate that I was born and raised in London. And I feel that for a lot of people wanting to start startups, having moved down to London, like having to earn money is a big, barrier. I was fortunate that I could live rent free. My parents paid for my meals and stuff. I acknowledge that that's a privileged position, but try to make the most of it, employ people and all that. But I was like, right, this could maybe it will last for 6 months. I'll go traveling and then I'll come back and interview and get some jobs that I'm really interested in. So it was more of a decision, like a risk decision, thinking, what do I have to lose? Absolutely nothing. I've qualified for my exams. I can always get my old job back. I'm not a very materialistic guy. So when a lot of people, trying to push for like big promotions and earn money and all these other things, I was like, oh, I only need money when I have responsibilities, and I have no responsibilities. So I was like, why not? There's zero reason for me not to try and do this.
Yeah.
And it was that mindset that kind of helped me, well through doing the business as well. But it was just, why not? Now or never.
Awesome. So from your point of view, we're interested obviously in careers, and having started your startup, how did you go about hiring people? And what was it about somebody that made you go, oh, actually, yes, this is the person for our startup? What kind of qualities did they have?
So I'll tell the story about how we met our co-founder, Vic, because I think that's it was a very rare example, but a good story into attitude. So Ben and I we're going to use our savings to pay a developer to build the minimal viable product of Pouch, and then use that MVP to go off and raise some angel funding. We were introduced to Vic through, it's actually a funny story. So I was on the tube coming home from EY, and I bumped into a friend from uni. She was like, how are you doing? And instead of being typically, tight-lipped, everything's great, my life's great, blah, blah, blah. I was like, actually a bit frustrated at the minute, got this really good idea, know how it will work, but need a technical person to do it. And she was like, oh, it's funny you say that. My colleague at work, Vic, was working for a digital agency at the minute, is he's, looking to try his own thing too, but he doesn't have an idea that he likes. So we met Vic. He lived around the corner from me in North London, which was just the craziest coincidence. What are the odds? Literally a 10-minute walk away. Met in Costa, presented him the pitch deck, and he was like, I like it. Let's meet again in a week after we digested. Came back a week later, and Ben and I liked him so much, we said, instead of us paying you just to build this, we want you to be our equal third co-founder.
Oh, amazing.
And he said, yeah, it was incredible. And he said, I'm glad you said that to me, because if you'd offered me to pay me to build this, I would have said no. I want to be part of it. So he wasn't looking to just take our money and run. He wanted to be part of something. And that was an amazing co-founder finding story, very rare. And I don't, if when I start a new one, I don't know how I'd go about finding a technical co-founder again, but that's how we did it this time. Really good.
So then on from there, and you're building the startup, and you're starting to hire. What kind of qualities are you looking for in those people, and what makes somebody stand out? Because we always talk about the importance of portfolios, and not just marketing in the traditional sense of portfolios, but portfolios in anything you're trying to do. Examples of maybe work you've done or projects, side projects you've done. But what was it to you that really made people stand out?
I'm going to give the honest answer, which was anyone who was willing to work for what we were afford to pay. Right?
That helps.
At the start, there was none of that. Thinking about culture and everything like that. It was what skills do we need? And that everyone we hired within the first 6 months. After we raised a very small. Also, we raised. We did the whole business on a shoestring budget. We raised. I think the first round we raised 100 grand, and then about 6 months after that we raised 180.
Wow.
Or no, we was a bit more than we raised 343 grand in total. But that goes a lot when you're spending on digital marketing and everything else. And so initially it was like whoever could, people that would do. We never did unpaid internships. We had a rule against that. Like everyone should be paid for their work. But anyone that wanted an intern salary, or there was a guy that he was like worked in a bike shop but had done a coding course and was like wanted to get some experience as a developer. So Vic's a very experienced developer, was willing to like train him up a little bit because he didn't cost us very much at all. So anyone that could work for what we could afford at the beginning. None of them lasted too long because the skill sets weren't lasting, or the job that we thought we hired them for wasn't what we needed them for 6 months later. In terms of when we could really start hiring people, anyone that just got on really well with Ben, Vic and I, like that got it, there was a culture fit, there was a personality fit. In terms of skill sets, everyone was learning on the job as they went. So just that ability to like just self-improve and say, right, you need to figure out how to do a MailChimp Gmail integration. Someone that's willing to like read blogs and teach themselves. Like you can teach yourself absolutely anything these days.
Yeah,
you really can. There's so much on YouTube, so much content, LinkedIn Learning, all these other things. Anyone that was just willing to learn and had a good attitude. We hired for attitude over skills always. Sorry, quite a rambly answer, but I think I got there at the end.
Yeah, no, that's great. We don't often hear that, to be honest with you. That's a really honest answer that, most of the time, and I think people forget this, it is actually really important to come across really well in the interview and actually have very similar values to the people that are going to employ you, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think a classic founder thing, you employ people that remind you of yourself because it feels safe, which meant that we were like we were 3 male co-founders and like a 90% male team as well. So that probably wasn't great. We didn't get the diversity in there, but it was always something we were thinking of. And it's not like we didn't try and hire women. It just was difficult. Like we were only a 7 or 8 person team. So yeah, definitely fell into that trap of like hiring yourself, which I think happens loads in like investment banks and VC, where everyone seems to be a carbon copy of the person 5 years older than them.
Sure.
I think it happens.
Did you ever look at things like CVs? Did you use LinkedIn? Like, where were you finding people?
So I'll just try and go through the hires that made sense. So Ben's brother, he just finished doing the same course as me at Nottingham. Very smart, capable guy. He joined the team. He hired some of his friends. So all, like, I guess you just call that network, right? People that are looking for jobs. We used recruiters to get some tech people. They were never really that good a fit. Like we hired one guy. I'd say the whole hiring for attitude thing, we hired this one guy that was a really good fit in terms of the skill set, but just the attitude was all wrong. He was in at 8:59, off at 5:59 or 4:59. Just did the job and left, and that's just not what we needed in terms of building a startup. I'm not saying I want anyone to like do extra hours for the sake of it, but it was more like the inflexibility and just like you know what I mean. It just didn't work. One guy. So because we were going on Dragon's Den, and after that we got quite a lot of interest from people wanting to work with us. Made a bit of a splash in the industry, like the performance marketing industry. So we had a few people applying directly to us. The best hire, in my opinion, was actually no, we had a few really good hires. The guy that ended up being our marketing manager, he was running like a competition Twitter page where people followed his Twitter page, and he would repost all the free competitions and built a widget for people to enter. I was like, you're clearly like a little bit technical and you know what you're doing. And he ended up being with us, for 2 years and post acquisition as well. And then we found some amazing developers just off some of the niche community websites as well, posting jobs there. So like I think 3 Thieves or a few other things like that. So a real smuttering of places. Like there was no strategy, there was no real thought. It was just who do we get on with, and any channel, these guys, they could come from absolutely anywhere.
It's really interesting because I think this, for people thinking about their careers, and obviously, you know, this is what this podcast is about. The startup world is a really interesting space at the moment in literally every industry. There's so much going on. You know, tech is changing industries left, right, and center. We've had people on talking about agri-tech, for example, which is amazing. If you ever have 5 minutes to have a look at it, it's going to change everything about agriculture.
So we did quite a lot of startup accelerators
Yeah.
to mainly save on office costs. But there was one guy on one of those, and you know, I had no idea about farming, like growing up in central London, like no idea. His whole business was this box you put on your tractor that if you deviate left or right, it will tell you basically like a level for your tractor. And if you go off a straight line, it will beep. It was all about getting tractors going in straight lines. I was like, that's crazy. I think he's done pretty well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but there's so many great things. And as a founder of a startup, you know, pretty recent as well, if somebody is like, well, do you know what? Actually, I want to go work for these guys or whoever, and they put a proposal together, or they just message you on LinkedIn and they say, look, this is what I could do. This is what I can offer the business. Is that something that as a founder, you'd be interested in?
100%, like undoubtedly. My advice I give to my friends that are not from a startup background that want to join one is look on any of the UK startup websites, UK Tech News, for example, see who's just raised their seed round or their Series A. Even if they don't have the jobs open, email the co-founders, say, this is who I am, this is my skill set, this is what I do. I want to interview for your company. Because the biggest challenge in growth, one of the biggest challenges of growth, is hiring good people. Yeah. And you will get straight through the door, mainly because, you know, the founders will love that their company's been seen by someone, but also, I know this sounds silly, if you're not coming through a recruiter, they're saving 20% on your salary. Yeah. So obviously they take you, and that's a genuine thought. If you're between two candidates, one coming through a recruiter, one's not, you're going to take the one that's not come through a recruiter. So absolutely do that. You've got nothing to lose as well. And even if they say, you know, not hiring, but keep you in mind, like, but great idea.
Well, Jonny, it's been a real pleasure chatting to you all about startups and careers and how to get into them. So thank you so much for taking the time to have a chat.
Pleasure. Thanks, Daniel.
Where can people find you, what you're up to?
Sure. So add me on LinkedIn, Jonny Plein, and follow me on Instagram at Jonny Plein. Got my handles down.
Amazing. Thanks, Jonny.